Hello guys, welcome to the Enhancement Shaman Battle for Azeroth video. We're going to be looking at the talent changes. I've just done an elemental video. Enhancement is just as tasty. It's really nice. Really enjoying it. I think Shamans in general have had some really sick stuff. I'll be talking about it from a PvP point of view, also from a raiding point of view, but I am more of a PvPer than a raider. But let's just get underway. Particular changes. Well, let's look at the talent tree first. We've got Boulder Fist here, which is same as live. So reduce recharge time on Rock Biter and increased damage. Hot Hand, melee attacks with Flame Tongue, active, grant a chance to make your next Lava Lash, cost no Maelstrom and deal 100% increased damage. That's quite nice. Same as live though. However, Lightning Shield has had some really nice changes. I'm running Lightning Shield at the moment because it's quite interesting. Surround yourself with a Shield of Lightning, which we know about. Melee attackers have a chance to suffer nature damage, which we know about, and adds a charge to your shield. When you Storm Strike, it gains 2 charges, right? So at 15 charges, this shield overcharges, which is quite a nice animation as well. You like wreathes you in lightning. It's quite cool, and it causes you to deal nature damage with each attack and generate 10 Maelstrom over 10 seconds. Now, from doing the training dummies, by the time the 10 seconds is over, you're nearly there for another 15 charge stack to go again. So, but for me, I'm a big fan of immersion. When I play a character, it's always a sad story. It's immersion versus DPS meters. You know, what if I want to go Lightning Shield? What if I want to be wreathed in lightning? I want to do that, but it's not, you know, the right DPS talent to take. That's the problem usually. However, for the sake of immersion, I'm taking it because it's cool. You're there, storm striking stuff like bang, 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 lightning going everywhere, and eventually you get this kind of lightning effect glow all over you, and that's when you've overcharged and you're doing loads of damage. So that's the first tier. Second tier, Landslide. Now this is a little bit different. Before, it used to buff your agility by I think 8%. Rock Biter did. Now it has a 20% chance to increase the damage of your next storm strike by 100%. As it stands, obviously numbers aren't quite finished, but as it stands at the moment, Storm Strike is hitting the hardest still at 1200 damage. Lava Lash just slightly behind at 976. Rock Biter is coming in at 611, so you know, they're quite strong. But as I say, Landslide increasing that damage by 100%, 20% chance to do so on a Rock Biter. That's quite nice. However, the talent I've gone for is Forceful Winds, because I just love this. Again, immersion for me. I love the idea of Windfury. This talent here causes each successive Windfury attack within 15 seconds to then further increase the damage of Windfury by 100%, and the Maelstrom generates by 1. Stacks up to 5 times. So you're there with a 500% Windfury damage buff and 5 Maelstrom every time it procs. I love that. Again, numbers tuning. I don't know which one will be stronger. I don't know whether Landslide with that, you know, extra Storm Strike damage, or Totem Mastery, which hasn't changed, to be fair, from Legion. Well, actually, no, it would have changed because it was only for Elemental, wasn't it? So Totem Mastery now for Enhancement increases damage of, you know, your various abilities and Windfury chance. In fact, forgive me, it isn't Legion, it is live. I do apologise, but I'm trying to skip past it because I'm trying to talk about Forceful Winds and Landslide, because the two of those are very nice talents. Immersion wise, I love Forceful Winds. I love the idea that, you know, Windfury gets harder and harder. I mean, when I first started playing Shaman, a lot of people out there will agree, it was back in the day where you could equip a two-handed weapon and your Windfury proc would one-shot somebody. It was great fun. I remember seeing montage videos in Warsong Gulch of dudes with Hand of Ragnaros or Sulfurin, whatever it's called, and they'd come in, they'd storm strike somebody, and you see the Windfury go whoop, and then just the numbers go bang bang bang, and it would kill someone. For me, I love Forceful Winds for that reason. I like Windfury being a force to be reckoned with. I do not like Windfury in its current state, where it's just Maelstrom generator. It doesn't really do much. It gives you extra attacks which do piss all. This means it's starting to be, you know, quite a heavy hitter, and I like that. A lot of people will disagree and they'll prefer to go Landslide because it just means every time they Rock Bite, there's a chance the Storm Strike, you know, gets jacked. But that's entirely up to them. Tier 3, I went a bit sick about this in the Elemental video. I love the fact that Shamans now are getting Earth Shield. Your Elemental and your Enhancement Shamans are getting Earth Shield now, which is mint. I'll just hover over the tooltip, you can read it in your own time. For a PvP point of view, I love that. because you can put it on yourself or on your healer, and it's just that extra bit of healing. It increases their healing taken by 10%. I just love the fact that Blizzard to give that over. I'm sick of homogenization. I'm sick of things being given to others. I know, but there is utility in giving that to elemental enhancement. I like the utility that that's bringing to even to a raid or to. I mean, you know, you bring an enhancement shaman to a raid, he's going to stick the earth shield on the main tank, isn't he? Because he's taking 10% increased healing. It's just beautiful. The utility there is really nice. Spirit Wolf you'll recognise from the PvP talent tree in Legion. So obviously when you're in Ghost Wolf in combat, you gain 5% increased movement speed and 5% damage reduction. It's quite nice. Makes it a bit tankier. Makes you a bit movement speed a bit higher, because obviously you've got an increased movement speed of 30%, but you can't be reduced below 100. So that's obviously going above the 100. So you can actually outrun people that are actually crippling you, which is nice. Static Charge is a new talent. I went into it briefly on my Elemental video. The Capacitor Totem has been nerfed. It's still a minute cooldown, but it's now only a 3-second stun after 2 seconds. So after 2 seconds it explodes, 3-second stun. They've nerfed AoE stuns quite a bit, to be fair. Warlocks as well with Shadow Fury, it's only a 3-second stun on a 1 minute cooldown. So I like that it's the same across the board. But that talent there will reduce the cooldown of Capacitor Totem by 5 seconds per enemy hit up to 20. So instead of a 1 minute cooldown, you potentially could have a 40-second cooldown. I think that's crap. I think it's useless. I think the 1 minute cooldown is fine as it is, and you're just going to be taking Earth Shield or Spirit Wolf, because those two are absolute bad boy talents. Moving on. Searing Assault. So now when you Flame Tongue the target, it causes the target to also burn for 1,000 damage over 6 seconds. Now that's quite a lot of damage. That's a Storm Strike basically over 6 seconds. It's quite potent, and you Flame Tongue in every 10. So I like that. It's just a bit of added sustain. It's not hard. It's, you know, to just a bit of added sustain really. Hellstorm is exactly the same as live. It just means that every weapon attack you do does additional frost damage. Overcharge is exactly the same as live. Buffs up your lightning bolt, makes it cost Maelstrom, but has a 10-second cooldown. I like Searing Assault. It's easy, it's passive. I don't like passive stuff too much, but that just kind of buffs Flame Tongue for me, because Flame Tongue is a little bit lackluster as it currently is. I think it's just, I don't like maintenance buffs. I don't like to have to press a button just to keep, you know, a buff going. Like things like Savage Roar and Demonic Empowerment. Never really enjoyed those to a point. However, adding Searing Assault to that makes it a bit less. Well, actually, it's worth pushing Flame Tongue now. It's worth keeping that buff up. I don't feel so, you know, underwhelmed by it now. It just seems like a decent talent. 75 tier is similar in a lot of ways to the Elemental 75 tier. Nature's Guardian's back, so when you've brought below 35% health, you instantly heal 20% of your max health with a 45-second internal cooldown. I love that ability. I love it. Again, in PvP, even in PvE, it's just that old crap mechanic. You've got a warrior that's on you and he's getting you to execute range, and Nature Guardian procs, and you're back within your safety net. You know, you're doing a boss fight and you're about to be lethal by some, you know, big ability, and you get 20% of your health back. So I like that. Feral Lunge though is the go-to for me in enhancement, just because it gives you that charge, because enhancement mobility isn't that great. So having that charge there, even on a significant cooldown, is for me essential. Plus, you know, hey, it's Rhaegar. We played Heroes of the Storm and Rhaegar. All he does all game is Feral Lunges. So I like that. I like that ability. I like that they kind of crossed it over when they did. And Windrush Totem is exactly the same as live. Right, so now we've got our 90 tier, which is very, very similar, if not the same, to currently live on Legion. Crashing Storm, basically even that patch of electricity which does damage over time. Fury of Air, which is that AoE Vortex, which is so irritating to see all the time being taken, because it's just annoying. Again, don't really like that kind of talent. It doesn't seem, I don't know, it's Fury of Air, right? It's the idea of Fury of Air. It should be some massive, massive vortex that just wipes people out. Short duration, big cooldown. But no, it's this little piddly kind of whirlwindy thing that slows you down and does very little damage. That doesn't really mean, to me, Fury of Air. To me, that sounds like I'm going to hit you with wet air of rapid AoE-ness. Okay? Don't like it, never did, but it's on that tier. Sundering, very cool talent. Obviously pinching from Thrall's ultimate from Heroes of the Storm. In a line in front of you. Incapacitating. Ooh, I've just read that. Incapacitating. That's interesting. Before, it just used to knock you back. Now it actually incapacitates an enemy for 2 seconds. So that's quite nice. That's just another little interrupt there. So potentially you could be doing a sundering, and as soon as the sundering's done, you could drop a capacitor totem down, and before they had a chance to either hit the totem or get away from it, they're also stunned. And then of course you've got your wind shear as well to interrupt any kind of spell cast. So that's actually pretty nice. I've just taken Crashing Storm for now because I just could not be bothered to keybind any of those two abilities. Third tier. Right, third tier is lovely. You've got Elemental Spirits from your artifact weapon, which is basically where your feral spirits are imbued with either fire, frost or lightning. So if you don't know much about those, basically if it's a fire or a frost or a lightning, it comes with a special passive buff that it gives you. I think lightning is 100% increased storm strike damage and wind fury damage. Frost is where it gives you this buff that every melee attack slows them and does damage. And fire, I can't remember. But basically, it just jacks up your feral spirits a bit more. Puts them at a 1 minute 30 cooldown instead of a 2. And it's decent. Earthen Spike is very, very nice. The hardest hitting move you have. It's above Storm Strike. 20-second cooldown, 20 Maelstrom. Increases the damage you deal to them by 20%. Well, physical in nature if you want to be picky. It's okay. It's alright. It's a maintenance buff, but it's also good damage, so I haven't got too much against it, to be fair. However, the winner for me, always, hands down, clear winner will always be Ascendance. Hasn't changed much. Obviously, it's still the same crappy animation. I hated it when, and you'll agree, I hated it when they changed it from the big lightning blast, to the wind blast, throwing shards of wind. I much preferred it when you were like meeting them with a big lightning bolt. But there we go. Reducing the cooldown and the cost of Storm Strike. I don't know about the cost on live. I think this might be the same as live, but I haven't played Enhancement for a little while, to be honest, and that to me is really strong, because as soon as you pop Ascendance, you've got no cooldown and no cost on Storm Strike on a 30-yard range. That to me is dirty. I love that. It just means that you're able to just chunk in loads of Storm Strikes, like so. So here we go. I'm literally just spamming the hell out of Storm Strike. It's got no cooldown. It's got no cost. Well, technically speaking, it's got a 6 Maelstrom cost. So you can see my Maelstrom bar is jacked, and it's just lovely. Enhancement is still feeling really, really strong. Obviously, there's little things now which again I've taken that Searing Assault, so flame thing doesn't feel pointless. It feels a bit more meaty now. You'll notice here on the side I've got a stacking buff here, Forceful Winds. So that means my Wind Fury is getting jacked. Again, I love that. I just really enjoy Wind Fury. I think it's a staple ability of the Enhancement Shaman. And the fact that they nerfed it so heavy that it became just literally a wet noodle, I never like that. So Forceful Winds, bringing back a good deal of immersion for myself, which is important. Immersion is what makes you play a game. In my opinion. Now this stack here, as you can see, is the Lightning Shield stack. So every time I'm Storm Striking, I'm getting a stack. But notice what happens when I do it on the last stack. I will become a Wreath of Lightning. So there you go. As you can see, I'm covered in lightning now, which is quite cool. So I'm enhanced by lightning. All of my attacks are doing additional nature damage, and yeah, it just feels. It feels nice. It feels like old school Enhancement with the Wind Fury changes. I mean, of course, a lot of you aren't going to go that. A lot of you might go the Rockbiter buff in the Storm Strike build. Personally, I love the Forceful Winds. I just love the immersion behind it. So, having Earth Shield as well, for me, is just the icing on the cake. Be able to put that on your healer or on your tank if you're a raider. But also, I'd like to say a big welcome back to the Tremor Totem. Tremor Totem, I've missed you. I'm not going to lie. I think you're an amazing totem. The fact that you could completely wipe away a Warlock's ability to peel was mint. And it's back, which is nice. So overall, a slight nerf to Capacitor, but you've got Tremor back. You've got things like Earth Shield. You haven't lost Earthbind. You haven't lost Hex. Lightning Shield has an interesting, different bit of utility into it now, but a lot of you will still be going Hot Hand and Boulder Fist just for that kind of, what you're used to, I suppose. But I like Lightning Shield. For me, it's, I look at it, the Earth Shield and the Lightning Shield are going around together. That shouldn't be allowed. It should be one shield at a time. What's going on, Blizzard? Anyway, yeah, I like them. They're good. The animations are still sweet. The maintenance buffs are now no longer maintenance buffs. If you wish, you can kind of buff them a bit more to make them, worthwhile and meaningful when you use them. So there is a lot of depth there now. So overall, really happy with Shaman so far. I think out of all the classes I've play tested so far, Shaman is my favourite. Elemental is just absolutely badass. You can go into either a full lightning build or a more of a lava build. Again, it'll be a numbers game. Which build is more stronger, which was always upsetting because there should be people that think, oh, I want to play a lava wielding man, or I want to play a lightning wielding man, and oh, I can't play the lightning wielding man because the lava wielding man is too strong. I have to play the lava wielding man because it's stronger. So for me, immersion is always trumps DPS from my point of view. But at the end of the day, if you want to perform well, you've got to get the builds that are obviously the most performing. Overall, very happy though. I will be doing another video on Resto next because I'm a very big Resto Shaman fan. Played it a lot in Arena and also raiding, so I'll be happy and excited to see what's going on. I have no clue, so I'm going to go do a bit of research and come back to you with that. So if you like the video, as always, subscribe and like, and any tips or criticisms, please leave in the comments box below, and I'll see you guys again real soon.